make AI your superpower? Is that the thing?
Well, yeah, sure. If you don't, someone else will, and they're gonna eat your lunch.
So in a nutshell, we can say that entrepreneurship is more rewarding, but a tough path to follow.
You only lose when you quit. We're now bigger than HubSpot. We're the second largest sales and marketing CRM on the planet.
We all are aware about how AI is becoming advanced day by day and how is it improving our lives by integrating into our day-to-day tasks. But there are still people who believe that sales and marketing is a sector which cannot be outnumbered with the help of AI. They believe that sales and marketing is a region or a domain which still needs human intervention and cannot be replaced by AI. So our today's guest has proven this myth wrong. Today we have Mr. Shaun Clark on our podcast, who is the co-founder and CEO of HighLevel, one of the world's largest all-in-one sales and marketing CRM platform, who has done $1 million profitable SaaS business in the marketing and sales world. This podcast will tell you how Shaun scaled his bootstrap startup in sales and marketing to a profitable multi-million dollar business. Today, Shaun has multiple products under HighLevel, which has completely transformed the domain of sales and marketing with the power of AI. Watch this podcast till the end so that you get a vision about how you can leverage AI into your day-to-day tasks, how entrepreneurs should behave, what should entrepreneurs think before starting their own startup, and lastly, what is the future of AI in sales and marketing, and especially what is the future of jobs in sales and marketing. So if you're new to this page or new to this channel, my name is Kev and you're watching the AIBROS show. Let's get started. Hey Shaun, I welcome you to the AIBROS show. How's it going at your end?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
So we are super excited to have you on the podcast, but just a quick note that I would like to add before we start. So our audience includes a mix of, AI enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, content creators, and some of them might be watching, some might be non-technical people, right? So to keep things engaging for everyone, let's try to keep the conversation broad and relatable. And I would suggest that we'll avoid too much of the industry jargons like the sales and the marketing terms. Let's keep those things simple for our viewers so that they could relate what we are talking about, and how things are working at the sales and marketing side. They'll be able to relate with that. Sounds cool?
That sounds fantastic.
Okay, so let's roll deep dive in the questions. My very first question, which I was very much curious about to ask you, was that I would like to know what is high level. Can you explain high level in simple terms to our
Oh yeah,
viewers?
sure. It's an
Yeah.
all-in-one sales and marketing automation platform.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Explained.
Done.
It's that simple. I gave you simple.
Yeah, that's actually very cool. So, all right. So you co-founded High Level in 2018, right? And
Yes.
that was a time when AI was not even the mainstream of business, right?
Didn't even
It
exist.
was
Yeah,
not
it was
even didn't
basically,
even
yeah, not even
exist.
there.
Yeah. So it was not even into business. No terms like AI automation or AI powered business used to exist back then. So
Nope.
what major transformation has High Level undergone with the rise of AI?
Well, AI now powers almost everything we do. So, you name it, we probably have some AI either in the front end or the back end that basically
Mhm.
tries to augment that, because it feels to me like, and I could be wrong, but it feels to me like AI, as much as it can be used sort of by the individual user, oftentimes it's used to make existing things better.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so you mentioned about the AI. So High Level also offers AI employees. So how what role do they play in High Level software, and what benefits do they bring to the business who are using
Yeah,
High Level?
yeah. So we use it across the board. So we use it for things like content generation. So you can generate images and text and blog articles and websites and funnels. So that's pretty obvious, right? It just very easily generates that content for you. But I think
Mm-hmm.
more of the interesting, exciting stuff is really the real time conversational. So We have inbound web chat that it powers, also inbound voice AI now. So if you call a business and the business doesn't pick up, it'll automatically pick up and actually do the conversation for you. So those are the more impactful areas, I think, the sort of customer communication stuff.
Okay, that sounds
Hmm.
cool. So these are the like the latest kind of developments which are kind of in the industry as well, whether it is sales or any other industry. So chatbots and all
Totally.
integrations are there. Yeah. So any future plans with the integration like you have in pipeline in high level?
For AI
Yeah.
specifically,
Yeah.
gosh, I'm trying to think what it's not going to do. So, I mean, we have it on the back end for things like software development and customer service.
Hmm.
But I mean, again,
Hmm.
every customer communications channel, like even like reputation management, automatic review replies, content generation, inbound voice, inbound chat, outbound chat, um, inbound text, like whether it's SMS or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, it's really about making sure that AI is available in all those channels. And then when it comes to anything that you need to, that really I mean, our business is interesting because, what we do is we look at our customers first to figure out where are they using AI successfully in a business
Hmm.
to actually create an outcome. Because a lot of times, you see a lot of cool AI stuff and it's like, wow, that's cool.
Hmm.
And then you can't figure out like, but what would I do with that? We
Hmm.
wait for our
Hmm.
customers to
Hmm.
actually show us how AI is functioning in the businesses that they serve or in their business, and then we actually go in and just replicate that and put it in our platform.
Okay, so based on the
Hmm.
feedbacks you are collecting from the customers, then the AI developments are going on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I'm just going back a little bit. You have done education in the computer science, and you had an experience of software development initially,
I
and
did.
then you turned into an entrepreneur, SaaS entrepreneur. So how did that journey evolve from a technical person to leading a complete SaaS company?
Well, I'll actually, I loved software from early on because I thought it was really cool to see what it could do for the world. And I
Hmm.
guess I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So maybe I was an entrepreneur first and then I just picked up software because I figured that was the best way for me to actually get out there and do it. So I would say it almost probably happened in reverse. So I felt like software was kind of the best way to assist me in my entrepreneurship journey. So that's kind of how I got into software.
Okay, okay. And what led you
Hmm.
to high level? Like high level is a sales platform, and you being from a
Sure.
technical background.
I had a previous SaaS company in the invoicing space, and I worked with a lot of small businesses. And from working with them, I learned that their biggest needs were more customers. And so I thought, well,
Hmm.
why don't we create a software platform that helps small businesses get more customers? And that's really what
Hmm.
inspired the creation of High Level and kind of how we got started in that journey.
Okay.
Hmm. But my question is, why marketing and sales? Why not another domain?
Well, it's funny. If you ask every business what they want more of, they'll all say more customers.
Hmm.
Weird, huh? So, yeah, that's what everybody wants. If you're like, hey, do you want a much better organization system for your business today? Isn't that exciting? People will be like, not really. But if you're like,
Hmm.
what about more customers? Everyone's like, heck yeah, I want more customers. Bring me some more customers. And so we wrote software that got people excited, right? People want to sell more, people want more customers. So that's why we did that.
Hmm.
Otherwise, the rest of the stuff, people are always kind of like, oh, a new accounting system? I guess so. That kind of sucks. I hate it. It's boring, but I guess. I don't know. I didn't want to get into the boring that sucks business. I wanted to get into the that's exciting. Yeah, give me more of that business. So sales and marketing just seemed like the thing that got people more excited.
It was because people find it more interesting, and people are more interested into sales
Yeah.
and marketing. They
Well,
want to
so
grow their
it's
businesses
crazy. If
ahead.
you want to sell stuff to people, you generally want to sell stuff that gets them excited. I mean, there are definitely things that people buy that they're like have tos, right? Like, oh, I guess I have
Hmm.
to do this or I have to do that. But nobody wants to do
Hmm.
that. And so, if you're trying to design a business, trying to find the thing that, I found when I talked to every business was the same. They all wanted more customers. So I was just like, well, why don't I meet the need? Like, why don't I go after the thing everybody
Hmm.
wants? Why try to convince them that they need something that they don't want?
So, is high level powering such businesses who are, very no voice or do not have any kind of technical proficiency, or
Yeah, I
what is
mean,
it about?
almost 100,000 of them now. So I mean, that's kind of what we do. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I mean, We're now bigger than HubSpot. We're the second largest sales and marketing CRM on the planet because the way we go to market
Mm-hmm.
is really different than everybody else. So we sell to people who sell to small businesses. Because one of the things I learned very early on is that if you really want to help a small business, you don't want to help the small business directly because they're not technical. They don't have the time and expertise to learn all the tools.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to find someone who can help them. So we sell to the people
Mm-hmm.
who actually help the small businesses.
Hmm. Yeah, your thought process is really really amazing. So, so let's travel back to time. Think when you were in Invoice Sherpa, when you were automating invoice payments, when you were, you know, account receivables, you are automating account receivables, right? And now high level is happening. You are, you know, you are doing great at high level. It's 2025 now. So what has been, what changes have you seen in the automation industry from 2015 to 2025?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of acceptance of it. I think it's now more common practice than it used to be. I mean, I think it used to be seen as some like an extra or something they could add in, but now I think it's more like, well, of course you're going to automate stuff, and if you're not, you're going to fall behind very quickly. And so it seems like there's just been a radical change and shift in what is common and standard now versus before. Automation is very common and standard now. In fact, now it's, I think AI is sort of that next level, right? It's like automation was
Hmm.
like the beginning, and now it's like AI is the new thing. So now some people say, well, I'm not doing AI yet. But if you can't say you're not doing automation yet, and if you say that, you're probably going to get eclipsed by somebody else.
Correct, correct. So, so
Hmm.
that's the need of the R.
100%.
Yeah. So you mentioned about like the people are not technical, and you are giving them people who can help them to understand the business. So I think
Yeah.
white labeling is one of the reason for that. Or I just wanted to
Um,
understand
I mean,
what.
it's certainly part of it. So I mean, what I realized was early on why we started white labeling is because we're working with marketing agencies, and those
Mhm,
marketing agencies were
Hmm.
basically buying somebody else's product off the shelf and then putting hundreds of hours into it to make it work. And then the client was coming in and saying, "Oh my gosh, look at this amazing software! It's so much cheaper than you, and it does all the work. You're fired." And it's like, no, wait, hold on. I made that all. Nope, too late. You're fired because the software is cheaper. And I was like, that's lame, right? That doesn't make any sense. So how do we fix
mhm,
that? Well, if we white label it, now the software and the provider are ubiquitous, right? You can't replace one without the other. And if they do cancel the service, they can still charge for the software. And so what we started to see, right, is that people were able to claim a lot more revenue and hold on to their customers a lot longer because they were able to, in my opinion, just get across the honest reality that software is just a tool. It's like a hammer, it's a saw, it's nails. It doesn't build the house for you. You need someone to actually be
Hmm.
able to put two and two together. And so for us, that's exactly what the white labeling was all about.
Okay, so in
Hmm.
terms of like monetary benefit or strategically, you mentioned like this is the benefit, but in terms of monetary benefit for high level, could you just give us a percentage or a number? What's the revenue percentage it has brought to high, I mean, just to understand the impact of it,
Well, I mean,
the
we never
significance
charge.
of it.
I mean, we didn't really charge more for the white label, so I don't. I guess it didn't really bring a. I mean, so you can white label the app on every single one of our plans. So we didn't
Mhm.
make it an upcharge because we just felt like every single one of our customers was dealing with the issues. So we didn't really want to charge more for it, because we felt like it was a very key core issue. So I guess the answer is $0, but that's just a feature we built into the app from day one.
Yeah, so that was a strategic decision rather than focusing on the monetary side.
Yeah, well, and again, we got into again we work with agencies, right? So we really wanted to make a product for them. That was the difference. Everybody else was selling products to the small businesses, and then the agencies were trying to adapt to that. No one
Mhm,
had made a product for the agencies. No one had said, "No, you, the agency, are my customer." That everyone else was saying,
Hmm.
"Oh, you're an agency and you have some small businesses. Well, here, how about you give me all your small businesses, and then if you get fired or you don't get fired, what do I care? I got your customers, sucker." That was never our play. Our play was no, 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 no. It's wrong to do that. That's a bad thing, right? Not only is it bad for the agency, which is, you could say, well, who cares? But it was also actually bad for the small businesses because when the small business bought the software and the software is working, they fired the agency. What do you think happened? It just all went
Hmm.
downhill, right? Because the
Yeah.
reality is the agency's not there to maintain it. And so all of a sudden the business would get this really expensive piece of software that no longer did all the things that they thought it would do. And it was just it's disingenuous. It's a total lie. You're cheating the small business
Hmm.
owner. You're cheating the marketing. Everyone's getting cheated. The only person who seems to be making money in that equation is the software company, who's probably charging per
Hmm.
contact and per user, and they keep racking up more fees to the small business owner, but the small business owner isn't getting more value out of the product. So for us, it was about saying like this is that there's that's enough. Like this is ridiculous. This is in my opinion, it's stealing from people, and we're not going to have it. So we're going to do something differently, and that's exactly what we did.
Great. Great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. So, like, since you are such an amazing entrepreneur, you have an amazing energy, as you have been portraying it on the podcast. I hope people are able to resonate with you. I would like to ask you that how should someone, if he or she he's trying to build a startup, if he or she has an idea, how can they validate their idea in the market?
I mean, what you do is as soon as you have your idea, so this is a big mistake I made, and this is what I wish I had done
Hmm.
differently. As soon as you have an
Hmm.
idea, figure out who you want to sell it to, and then go to those
Hmm.
people. And even if you have to pay those people money, say, look, what's an hour of your time? $100? Great. Here you go, $100. Sit down and explain the idea to them and say, I want to,
Hmm.
would you pay, if I had this idea, boom, snap my fingers, here it is. Would you pay me X dollars a month for that? And if they say yes, great. Now go out, do that same thing as many more times as you can, but at least 50 more times. Because if you cannot find people, and this was our mistake, like before high level, between Invoice Sherpa and high level, there was we had two or three failed other ideas. And if I think about what, it's not so bad that they were failed. The biggest problem was like one of them we took 6 months to get out to market before we showed
Mhm.
anybody, and it was just boom, day one, like nope, sorry, bad idea. I think the
Hmm.
sooner you can validate your idea with your customer, because I think all of us in our heads think it's going to be the greatest thing ever. But if you can't get somebody else to tell you that they would pay you money to solve that problem, it is not worth doing. It may be fun, it may be exciting, you may love it, but that's not a business, that's a hobby.
Hmm.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, like, how can social media help in this? Can you explain that?
Well,
How
I
can
mean,
social media?
Uh, I mean, I don't like. I mean, I don't. When I think about like how can social media like as a topic, I don't think that's the best way to think about it. Social media is just a tool, right? So the question is, can you build a? I mean, I think of it more about community. Can you build a community around what it is that you're doing? Because invariably, if
Hmm.
you're doing something interesting and exciting, you will no doubt find there are many other great people in the world who want to help and contribute to that same idea, right? And so
Hmm.
fundamentally,
Hmm.
it's about finding those other people that can
Hmm.
come along for the ride and help you make things possible. And so social media could be a way by which you create that community, but I want to be really specific. It doesn't have to be social media; it can be something else, right?
Hmm.
By itself, social media could be is just a tool. It could be the best thing ever. It could be the worst thing ever. I mean, we can all think of horrible things on social media that we wish didn't exist. So I would say it's about building community, not about the tool you use to build the community.
Can you suggest some tools so that people can use that and build a community so that they could
Oh,
validate the
I've
idea?
got a great idea. High Level. I've heard of this amazing tool called High Level. It has private communities built into it. You can start your own community inside High Level. I love that tool. It's the best. I highly recommend High Level.
Man, you have a great sense of plugin, man. I
Plug
appreciate
in
that.
nothing. We built that. There's no plug in there. But yeah, you know what it was. So here's an interesting story, right? So back to your whole social media thing. People absolutely started on the big public social media platforms, but a lot of people are now
Hmm.
migrating to private communities. And we saw this
Hmm.
again. We work with our customers very, very closely to understand what they want. And a lot of them said,
Hmm.
hey, I want to build a private community. Can we do that in high level? And at the time, I said no. But now the answer is yes, you can. You can build your own community. And a lot of times it's around courses and other things. So there's a lot of stuff happening in community. And this is another example of where, is social media good or bad? Sometimes yes, because maybe you like the fact that you can draw in from their network effects. but maybe no, because you want to have it smaller. You want to have it really tight and private, and you don't want random people to know about it or find out about it. And it's invite only. So
Mhm.
you kind of get the ability to have best of both worlds.
So at high level, you can build your own community. Is that thing
Yep.
that you can interact with the other communities built on high level? Is that any option over
Yep.
there?
Yep, 100%. Yep, we have a
Okay.
brand called Collab. So if you go to gocollab.com, KOLLAB,
Mhm.
you can put your community
Mhm.
live in public. So if you do want it to be public, you do want to pull from other communities, you can absolutely do that. 100%.
That sounds good. So, like, since you have built high level, you already said that AI is going to take over the market. AI is going to replace, AI going to advance, right? I want to
Sure.
know your perspective about whether should a freshman recently graduating from any college, should he or she pursue traditional 9 to 5 job, or should they explore the entrepreneurial opportunities out there? What is your take on this?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, being an entrepreneur isn't an easy journey, as you
Mm,
guys probably are
mm,
aware. So everybody's
yeah.
different. I guess you got to figure out kind of who you're going to be. One of the things, though, that does seem to be the case. So I'll put it like this. So I was going to college for computer science, and
Mm,
at the time, I remember a lot of like I remember like first day of class where this big room, lots of students, blah blah blah, and the dean of the college stands up and he says, "In 2 years, half of you guys will be gone." And I'm like, "No way! Like, how's that possible?" Blah blah blah. But then I started talking to some of these people, right, and meeting them, and they were like, "Yeah, I love video games, and so they want to make video games." And I had already been in industry prior to going to college, so I was like, "I don't want to do video games. I want to write small business applications." I was a weirdo, right? But I was kind of like, okay, I kind of get it, right? So, and sure enough, 2 years later, half of them were gone. And at the time, though, if I looked at most of them, they they would go off and get like a business degree. And I remember thinking, you know what? As you know, while I don't like, I'm happy I'm not doing that. Like, I like what I'm doing. They're gonna be okay. It's sort of the way I sort of thought about it. Like, they'll find a decent job someplace. These days, I don't feel like that at all. I think that this whole choice of 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurial journey, I don't know that there isn't some demand that you have to almost have a side gig these days. So whether you go full time or part time, it's interesting. I don't think this whole like, oh, I'm going to sign up for that 9 to 5 job, easy, I'm good. I just don't think that's the same as it used to be. I think things have shifted there quite a bit.
So, like, what is your side? I just want to know your side. Is it the 9 to 5 or is it the entrepreneurial opportunity?
Well, I mean, clearly it's hard to argue with what I've chosen, right? Very few people are like, "Well, I'm an entrepreneur, but I really hate it. It sucks. I really wish I had gotten a job." So, again, I'm just telling you, I think it's mostly personality, but again, I think almost everyone's going to have some kind of entrepreneurial journey as part of their life. So whether you do it full time or part time, I just think it's a have
Mm-hmm.
to.
Well, while you mentioned the journey is quite tough, so it is tough for them. So while you see like governments are providing some platforms for those startups, do you know any private communities, networks, or any mentorship programs that truly act as a godfather for these new entrepreneurs? So that
No idea. We didn't get any, so we just had to get out there and start going and learning. I mean, honestly, I also think this idea of like signing up for some perfect thing that's going to teach you all the stuff, I think
Mhm.
that's ridiculous. I think in reality, the sooner you get started, the better off you're going to be. And the reality is you're going to make mistakes and you're also going to learn from people, but the people you're going to learn from, I generally don't think they're going to hold themselves out as like great mentors. I think you're going to meet great mentors by being in your industry, finding great entrepreneurs who are already successful, people who are willing to give back and willing to, give you advice. But I don't think they're gonna like. I'd be really careful about signing up for like some specific organized thing because it was kind of like again back to my college days. I remember it's like those a lot of my professors. I had this one guy and he had all these crazy theories and he'd worked for Chevron for years and I just kept thinking, gosh, like if you were this good at what you're espousing to teach me, I feel like you just wouldn't be here. Like I feel like you'd be out there doing it. So I think, and
Mhm.
I found that to be true over my
Mm-hmm.
career. I mean, the most inspirational, exciting people I've ever learned from, they're not sitting around trying to sell me some course or trying to teach me something formally. They're just out there doing their thing, and they're willing to give me 5 minutes of their time or half an hour of their time or something like that. And I learn a lot by watching them and talking to them but they're people in the
Hmm.
market. They're people in action. They're not people sitting on the sidelines waiting to teach you.
So in a nutshell, we can say that
Hmm.
entrepreneurship is more rewarding, but a tough path to follow.
I would say so, but that's been my experience. Maybe some other people, it's no big deal. But for me, it's always been a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So AI is, we all know AI is like tremendously exponentially increasing day by day, right?
Hundred percent. Yeah,
AI. You used AI to you completely automated sales and marketing roles, right?
that was the
What
goal.
advice would you give to the professionals in marketing and sales? What one advice would you like to
I
give to
mean,
them?
learn the. I mean, if you're in marketing and sales, well, first of all, I'm not in marketing or sales, so just take my advice with a grain of salt. But I mean, it seems like these AI tools are really there to try to help expedite the process. So the more you can
Hmm.
use them, the more you can learn them, the more value you have. I mean, I still think that at the end of the day, whether you are within an organization, whether you're running your own business, like your ability to
Hmm.
make the most of your time will always be the greatest thing. And so the less you have to do, the better off you are. In fact, I think as a software engineer, I'm better situated to commentate on this because when I first started writing code to every time there'd be a new big development in software engineering, it was really about saying, hey, look, oftentimes it'd be a new language, but it'd be sort of be like, oh, this is brand new language, it's blah blah blah, it's so much better than whatever you're doing now. And why is it better?
Hmm.
The reason it was often better is because the stuff you used to have to take a lot more time to do in the old language was like easier
Hmm.
or completely automated in the new language.
Hmm.
And the point
Hmm.
and I never sat around and I never was like sad, like, oh, all those subroutines that took forever. I'm so sad. I don't have to write those manually anymore. Boo hoo. No, I said, this is freaking amazing. Now I can actually get back to doing what I wanted to do at the end of the day, which is create a thing, create an outcome, right? So I think the same thing goes for sales and marketing. Like if your mission is to create the outcome, you should be thrilled with
Hmm.
these AI tools, right? Because they should
Hmm.
expedite the process. It's like if you
Hmm.
used to have to wait on a design team to come out with designs for you and you don't have to anymore. I mean, what an amazing day that must be for you. So for me, it's about learn those tools, learn how you can use them most efficiently and effectively, and then just stay on top of all the latest iterations because as you said, AI is evolving and those tools are getting better. So you want to be in a place where you know the latest and greatest.
Hmm. So your advice to sales and marketing people is that you should make AI your superpower. Is that the thing?
Well, yeah, sure. And if you don't, someone else will, and they're gonna eat your lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since they can be since they are not belonging to technical perspective, or they do not have any technical perspective out there. So how can they stay relevant in the changing landscape?
I mean, I think the problem with anything, right, is that marketers get marketed to, right? And so people are
Hmm.
always going to say, "Oh, mine is better than this one," and blah blah blah. So I think it's a lot of it is honestly about trying it all out and just constantly trying. Like anybody who says, "Oh, I have the newest, latest, greatest thing," you look at it, and if it seems like it could be worth something, you should just try it and see how. And the nice thing is, and this again, this is the same with technology. It's like if you currently use something that let's say like creates designs for you, if you consistently already have a tool that does that, I mean, your ability to then discern, does the new tool do a better job than the old tool? Because you already are doing it every day, it'll be very easy for you to figure out like, okay, either this works a lot better or it doesn't. And so it should be quite simple.
Hmm.
But I don't think again there's like some master resource where you can go look up the best of the best. I think it's really about figuring out what works well for you. And honestly, with AI, it feels to me like there's also going to be more specialization as time goes on, right? Some people are going to be really good in certain domains or in certain industries or both. So you might find that one person's great tool is worse or better for somebody else, but not because the
Hmm.
underlying sort of AI tech is better, but maybe the training is better, the experience is better, the domain is better. So there's a lot of variation there, I think.
So there is no fixed resource, according to you. You
I
should be
mean, not,
updated with
not that
each and
I've seen, but
everything.
again, I am not the sales and marketing AI expert. So,
Uh-huh.
and in general, I'm always just kind of dubious because I feel like
Hmm.
every list out there is somebody trying to sell something. So I figure like, well, cool, that's great, but let me go try it for myself.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Got it. You made a startup from scratch, and it is a bootstrap one, right? High level is
It
completely
well,
bootstrapped.
it was until we raised private equity, but yes, but that was
Okay,
for many
okay,
years.
so
But we
okay,
didn't.
so
I mean,
for many
private
years
equity
it
is not
was.
venture capital, so we didn't raise private equity. I mean, private equity comes to our the big difference is private equity companies invest in profitable companies, and the thing that is that we were profitable almost from inception. We were profitable before we took the PE money. We were profitable after we took the PE money. So we've never not been profitable. Even to this day, we are profitable with or without. We don't need anyone else's money to keep the lights on. That's for sure.
Hmm. So you build a profitable bootstrap business, right? Before you
Yep,
took the PE money.
100%.
So yeah, so I want you to, give some key lessons to the aspiring entrepreneurs that should learn from your journey
Sure.
to scale a
Uh,
business without external funding.
Yeah, let me tell you. So if you look at most software companies, most of their money goes out the window in sales and marketing. And
Hmm.
if you look at what's really going on there, it's like buying ads and running sales teams and doing all this stuff.
Hmm.
The good news for us is we were terrible at, like, even if you gave me all the money in the world and said like go market and sell and make ads, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So we were terrible at it, and we still are terrible at it. We have people on our team who are not, so they're great at it, but I'm still terrible today, and I'll always be terrible at it. And that's really important because understanding your strengths and weaknesses is where it's at. So for us, for me, it's like I feel like I love product and software and engineering. That's my go-to. So I had to figure out how do
Hmm.
we get sales and marketing without being good at it. And so my advice is really simple: run an affiliate program. That's the answer. And really, what that is we, from inception, we focused on making a great product, and then we had customers who loved that product, and they knew a lot of people who would benefit from it. And yeah, sure,
Hmm.
they would tell some of their friends for free, but man, if you incentivize your customers to go out and be your best cheerleaders, my goodness, they will go. And it is exactly how you do it. It's how you build a business, because there's something really important here. Even if you have the best salespeople, the best marketers, and everything else, what you don't have is trust. And if other people who've already spent years in some cases gaining that trust, right, are
Hmm.
willing to
Hmm.
recommend you, wow, it is fantastic what can happen, because it's very simple. Just ask yourself the question: the last time one of your good friends recommended to you that you buy something, what did you do? You probably went out and bought it. And did you spend a lot of time like researching it and this and that? Probably not nearly as much as you would have if you hadn't gotten that recommendation. That recommendation is really the ability to ride on someone else's trust to that next
Hmm.
sale, and it's pretty incredible. And turns out, and so if I was going to tell an entrepreneur to do one thing, it's, for Pete's sake, have an affiliate program, and don't just have one, make that your only sales channel. I'm not saying add it to what you're currently doing. I'm
Hmm.
not saying make it a third wheel. Throw everything else in the trash can and just do that one thing.
Mhm.
Hmm. Sounds really like it's actually very inspiring the way you told people, the way you educate people about affiliate and the steps, the key lessons. That was actually good. So now I want to know, what do you think about AI shaping the future ahead? Can mankind and AI live in harmony, or is there going to be something interesting?
Oh yeah, that's
What are
yeah,
your views?
yeah. That's a very existential question. I like it.
Uh,
I think it's invariably accurate to think that AI as a technology will continue to grow and become a big mainstay. I don't know how quickly the Terminator movies are coming. I can't tell you that. But what I can say is, I do think that AI has the capacity to create a lot of disruption. And the question is really
hmm,
just, what do we do with this disruption? And, I can sort of
hmm,
think of it like, it's like anyone who's ever seen Star Trek. So in Star Trek, the technology, the benefits of the technology, the outcomes of the technology are shared by all. So, it's like if you want something to eat, you just go up to the little machine, you tell it, like, hey, I want this food, and it comes out. And basically, it seems like to me, unless you're like exploring space, if you live back on Earth, you just basically hang out and paint all day or something. You like there's everyone seems like they're living a good life. But I think the most interesting question will be if the benefits of AI fundamentally tilt in the direction of the few, not the many, what happens to the
hmm,
many? And I think that's the question we're gonna have to answer. Now, as a net outcome for humanity, AI should be fantastic because it should allow us to do less things that we don't need to do. And it's like any form of automation, right? It should allow us to do everything we wanted to do, better, faster, cheaper, and that
Hmm.
should be a good thing. And so I think that I think there's a lot of promise there, and I think there's a lot of really positive outcomes still to come. There will, like every big
Hmm.
revolution, though, there'll be a lot of negatives, and we'll have to figure out how to deal with those. But hopefully, as people, we can come together and find good solutions for everybody.
So in the long run,
But
it would be positive, more positives, and in between, we have to kind of deal with the change which is happening in the industry. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just how life works, right? Every time there's a disruption, then that invariably you have to come up with solutions.
exactly.
but don't you think, Sean, that with the advancements of AI, we should have something which should keep AI under control, no matter how advanced it goes? Don't you think that? Because people are making blunders out of AI. The ones who are using it for good, like you, they're using it for good. But for those who are using it for blunders, they are doing irrelevant things out there. So what is your
Well,
take
sure.
on this?
Well, but again, it's like everything, right? I mean, it's like social media. Can you use it for good things? Absolutely. Can you use it for bad things? Absolutely. And does there need to be
Mm-hmm.
something that hopefully protects people? Absolutely. Um, but yeah, that's the idea. That like with anything at all, there's you can use almost anything can be used for good or for bad. And on the bad side, you've got to find ways to regulate that and to rein it in.
Mm-hmm.
And but again, like every revolution, this is kind of how I feel like this is what always happens, and it takes the bad guys to show us what's possible to do to do wrong with it, so that way we can learn and figure out how to keep that from happening. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of that. I feel like that's such a challenging thing, but I'm excited that there are people out there who are trying to tackle that challenge.
Great, great. So, lastly, what are Sean Clark's future plan with the high level? Like, what is cooking up? What new product or feature
Oh
we would
man.
see in the next quarter? Or so,
Well, I mean, we'll continue to push out. I mean, for us, it's about continuing the journey to help holistically the businesses that we now serve. So with 3 million users and growing, it's about making sure that all their entire business can run inside high level. So, it started with sales and marketing. It's and really customer communications. And so now that we cover almost all of that, well, and we'll continue to develop that. And as new features come out, we will do that. Although these days I'm trying to think of what features we don't have on that. But
mhm,
we'll start to move into things like
Mm-hmm.
project management and business operations and ERP style functionality. Really starting to get into more of the have tos, because now we can be a more complete, holistic platform. And really, our journey is how can we be the one stop shop for that business so they don't have to go someplace else and get another tool to try to string it all together. How can we be an all in one for them? And we won't work for every business. We're not going to work for massive enterprises and things like that. But our mission is really in the small business domain. How can we do this for every small business out there and do a great job? And how can we
Mm-hmm.
continue to mint more? We call them SaaSpreneurs. These are people that are taking our software and going out and helping small businesses. How can we help the people who want to be in that role continue to thrive as well? Because we KPI ourselves based on the revenue of our customers. And that to me is the most important thing. Are we as a company making our customers money? Because if we're not doing a good job. I've always said if you buy a high level and you
Mm-hmm.
pay us more than you make using our software, you're doing it wrong. Like something's off here. We got to fix that because we are really intent on being not just a tool, not just an expense. We need to be a revenue source for you and your business.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. So, like, just a random question that came to my mind. I would like to ask you, since you are such an inspiring personality for our viewers who will be watching this podcast, right? So, I am working into the AI space. I am trying to build a startup. I'm trying to start things of my own. There'll be many who
Yeah.
will be watching this video, who will be watching this podcast. Can you inspire? us, the young minds who are trying to, start something of their own? They're hustling, they're working day and night. Can you spill out some inspiring words
Well,
if
I
you could?
mean, you don't lose until you quit. I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I can think of lots of big wins, but I can also think of a lot more
Hmm.
big losses, right? I,
Hmm.
I, I can tell you I have gone from zero to what I thought was the biggest I'd ever get, back down to zero again. And you know what? I will say that I don't think it was even fair. I don't think it was like, it's not like I went to Vegas and put it all on the tables or something. Like, I didn't do anything stupid. Like, I was working hard the whole time. Like, it wasn't fair, right? And it was terrible. And it was like, and these were dark days. But the difference was I didn't quit. I just kept
Mhm.
pushing. I
Hmm.
kept pushing. I kept pushing. And now I'm at a level I never could have ever imagined myself being. And here's the fun part: I'm not really that special. I'm not super smart.
Hmm.
I'm not. I don't have family connections. Like, I'm just a middle class kid from from random any city USA. And I guess that's an advantage. That used to be a big advantage. Although what's great now is there's a lot of democracy in the internet and technology. So I don't even think that's an advantage
Hmm.
anymore. Point being is, I think that if I
Hmm.
can do it, almost anybody can. And if I had to think of one thing that I did differently than other people I knew, it's just I failed to quit. And maybe that's because I'm stupid, or I'm just I'm just ignorant. But at the end of the day, I just kept thinking, like, even if I came to an idea and it failed, I would learn something from that and take that to my next thing. And so for me, it's just and look, it doesn't even mean like maybe you have to go get a job for a while you like work on stuff on the side or you build your savings back up. There's lots of ways this can go. It's just you just cannot like quit making some type of forward momentum. And if you just
Hmm.
refuse to quit, I think eventually you will learn enough and you will collect enough and you will find enough that you will then find a direction that works for you and you will create success.
Hmm.
But I think that if you're in the throes of it, it can be incredibly discouraging because first and foremost, a lot of people will want you to fail. Some of those people will even be your friends and family. And so if you're just if you just refuse to give up, you just can't lose. You only lose when you quit. So I would just say that
Hmm.
in whatever way you can, even if it's by centimeters instead of miles. Oh, I'm mixing uh, mixing measurement schemes there. But point being is, as long as you don't quit making forward progress, you're still on the path. So just refuse to quit. And if your friends and family tell you you should, just ignore them. They don't mean to be discouraging. They don't mean to hurt your feelings. But they will, but just ignore them. Just know that you know better than they do. And, as much as they love you and have your best interests in mind, sometimes they're going to get it wrong. And you just got to keep going forward until you get where you want to be.
Nice. And just few last words for our viewers, because you have such a big user base across globe, right? People from India and different parts of the globe use your product. So
Heck, more than
a
half our
small
teams
few
in
words for
India.
them.
Well, I mean,
So something for them.
what I will say is it's a big world out there, and we no longer live in a place where it's funny because a long time ago now, I read this crazy book called The World is Flat, and back then I knew I thought the world was flat, but man, it's flattened out even more. Fundamentally, no matter where you are, I mean, I don't think you have to be bound by your location. I don't think you have to be bound by your language. I don't think you have to be bound by any of that stuff. It may make it harder for you, but that's okay. That just makes you tougher. And so fundamentally, I think that and I will say this, like, if I look at my team, my past, like, I wouldn't be here had I not had the luck and opportunity of talking to, learning from, and partnering with people from all over the place. My CTO is the smartest engineer I ever met. I hired him for his first job in India, and thank goodness I was lucky enough to meet him. He's still here today. And then my other co-founder is from Dallas, Texas, and he randomly called me. It's funny because he's Indian as well, but so I mean, at the end of the day, diversity is a strength, and no matter where
Hmm.
you're from or what your background might be, success is still possible. I've met many, many, many people who have done it, and no matter where you're from, it's entirely possible. Again, just be ruthless about not giving up, and if you can do that in the face of a lot of people telling you to give up, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
you'll do okay.
All right. So I think that's enough of the talking. Thank you so much. I really
You're very
appreciate
welcome. Thanks,
you gave
guys.
you gave us your precious time and you inspired our audience with your positive
We'll,
energy
we'll,
throughout
we'll
your
find out when we see the comments.
definitely, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you
Sean.
both. Bye,
Thanks, Sean.
gentlemen.
So if you're watching this, I hope you like the conversation. If this conversation has brought some value to your lives, make sure you subscribe to AI Bros for more such insightful conversations ahead. We do have a newsletter where we put weekly insights on AI space and the happenings going around in the AI. Make sure you follow our newsletter. Link is in the description and I'll see you in the next video.